Today I'm talking to people from Undying Games on their new game called Ethereal Clash of Souls. So why don't you fine gentlemen tell you who you are and what do you exactly do at the company?
Well, first of all, Sugi, I'd like to thank you personally for asking us for an interview. It's great to sort of interact with various content creators across the YouTube platform and, just get our game out there and sort of inform people what we're about. So I'm John. I'm also known in the Discord as Undying Bacon. I've been very active. People sort of know me from past interviews. Like to say like, John, that guy's bacon, you know what I mean? And I'm with my friend Ronan, who is a community representative. Ronan, you here?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm very honored to be here. This is really exciting. As a community representative, I go through the community answering questions, taking notes about, what the community wants to see and what they want to improve about the game, as well as I work in the marketing department for a company.
Okay, so why don't you guys give me a rundown for the people who have never seen any footage of the game or don't know what it's about? What is this game about? What's it all about? The genre and all that.
Right. So Ethereal Clash of Souls, it's a project we've been working on for about a year. It's a MOBA, but it's a MOBA unlike any other you've ever seen. It's a completely new, original map design that's going to blow people away. It's insane. That's all I can describe it. People are extremely hyped for the game because it's nothing like anybody's ever seen before. It's a three-layered map. It's a big map, and the map that we sort of have in most of our videos, it's called Oblivion. Okay, that's the name we're going to give to the map, and it's pretty big, but we've balanced it in a way that the lane timing it takes for the wave or however we're going to balance it for we'll just say for mitts to reach each other from each side of the lane. It's the same as Smite or League of Legends. So we've balanced the map. May look big, but we've taken that into consideration and we've made sure to balance all other aspects that people like in a MOBA around the map. And that's what we kind of want to portray to our community. This is something new. It's something completely different. It's something that's going to blow people away. People are concerned, because it's so big. People are like, oh God, how are we going to get to lane? It's too big, but we've balanced all about that. We've balanced everything in the map. You know what I mean? We've got a great team of programmers, artists, cinematics. I should actually introduce my bosses. So their names are Undying Owen, Undying Kai, and Undying Luke. Okay, so I'm a game development analyst. Okay, so and then Luke is the lead GDA, lead game development analyst. Owen and Kai are the two CEOs. Okay, so they kind of manage everything, and they've just been putting their heart and soul into the game and just making sure that everything is balanced. Because we get questions every day, we get questions like, oh, how are you going to balance this? And is this going to be because with a new project, it's a lot of questions come in. You know what I'm saying? If anything new, people have concerns, and Owen, Kai, and Luke are just brilliant in the sense that they've just taken every question a person has and they've just made sure to balance it. Even in past interviews that Luke's done, people have asked where's the verticality in the lanes themselves, and almost all right guys, let's give what the community wants. Let's make sure that our lanes have some depth in them, and he's working on it right now as we speak. So it's just awesome to have. It's awesome to work for people like that. It just makes a very cool and comfortable work environment.
Okay, so as you said, the map is huge. It's really large. You have the 3 layers. It's something that never has been done before in a MOBA. So this is a very unique aspect. But obviously, because the graphics also look very high end, is how the game is gonna run. Is it gonna be 10 FPS throughout the whole playthrough, or
no?
how's it gonna run?
Okay, so I suppose in layman terms, okay, because it's very if I go into the specifics, then people are going to get confused. Okay, people are going to go, what's this going on? If you're familiar with Unreal Engine 4, that's the sort of requirement your PC would sort of have to have in order to run a smooth gameplay. So, everyone wants the 60 FPS, everyone wants the 4K ultra, and if you have a high-end PC, it's no bother. But at the same time, not everyone can afford a $4,000 PC. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So basically, we have a graphical setting, right, to cater for people. I myself, I don't have GTX 1080 or whatever. I've got a very standard gaming PC, but it can run the job. So we have graphical setting high, ultra, medium, low. you know, whatever people need. But also definitely realistic, I guess. You know, you can't really expect to run a game powered by Unreal Engine 4 if you have integrated graphics. Well, not well. Anyway, it would just make the game very choppy, etc. Anything above 30 FPS is actually fine. You know, there is a stigma with PC gaming that everything has to be 60 FPS. But like, and if you're on medium settings and you're not getting 60 FPS and you're getting 40 or 50, like that's fine. You know, it won't be looking as well as 60 FPS, but it will still be a smooth gameplay experience. And that's where we kind of stand at that. We wanted to make sure that there was a graphical setting because we understand that not everyone has a GTX 1080.
Right. So is there essentially like a setting which would like reduce the field of vision?
Well, yeah, there's some field of vision, you know, anti-aliasing, textures, shadows, you know, all that stuff can be adjusted in the game. As of now, we're pre-alpha, you know, so not everything that you see is actually fully rendered or shaded. Like in a few videos we posted, our horses animations, that's not done. We still have, you know, more work to do on that, and our programmers are working on it as we speak. But just everything is being improved on and is sort of being catered for the communities, being catered so that the community can have a solid gameplay experience. And that's what we kind of strive for. And we've made, this is, Ronan will agree with me on this, we've made this very clear. We want quality over everything. Like, we don't want to release something for the sake of releasing it. We want to make sure that the game runs smoothly, the game's perfect, the gameplay is amazing, phenomenal, you know, and we want to make sure that we get that before we release it. So the release date is November. That's what we hope. That's what we're trying. We're working so hard to get it to November, right? We're working day and night trying to get the game out in November. But if we feel that we could do a better job and it would cost whatever, a month or 2 months or even next year, we will wait so that you can enjoy a good gameplay experience. Because the last thing we want is to release it in November and there's tons of bugs and the frame rates are dropping and it's not optimized properly. You know, we don't want that. You know, we want to make sure that it's optimized for both NVIDIA and Radeon graphics cards. We want to make sure that everyone, I would like to say bug free, but when you think about it, no game ever is bug free. You know, there's always going to be,
not at least on the modern day.
Yeah, in the modern day, you know, in a perfect world, hopefully things will be bug free. But as we stand now, 21st century, who knows, you know. But we do want to get the best gameplay experience for our community, and that's what we really strive for at Undying Games.
Okay, so as we already kind of discussed the map, so it is 3 layers. And I'm thinking, like, how is the victory condition going to be? Is there, like, a base or a nexus end of each layer? Or is there, like, a teleporter which takes you to the base? Or how is this going to go? Like,
so we sort of inspired a game of Final Fantasy. Okay, now I can't say too much for non-disclosure reasons. I can't reveal everything. But we want our environment to be interactive. Okay, we want it to have feeling. You know, we don't want a stagnant core where, you know, oh yeah, attack the core and get it, you know, below. Like we want something epic to end the game. So I can't say too much as of now, but I will say that in order to end the game, it will be a very interactive experience for the community. Okay, it will be an extremely epic way to sort of win a game.
Right.
That's all I can say as of now. I can't reveal much more. But it won't be a stagnant experience. It'll be very interactive and very enjoyable for the community.
And what goes to because we had so many different MOBA games out there, and especially like there's a big differentiation between the mobile ones and the ones on PC in terms of the game length. How long are you guys like planning to have the games? Because there is a certain audience which doesn't like to play over 1 hour games. They feel like it's too long, and then there's the audience who wants to play 10-minute games. Do you have, like, from a game design standpoint, do you have a certain goal of time you want to meet, or is it this something that you kind of like the meta figure it out itself, or what's the goal here?
I'll let Ronan answer that because he's a community representative, you know, and at Undying Games we really want to interact with our community, and that's why Ronan's here today. He's representing the community, so Ronan will have an answer for you on that because this is the community feedback. So Ronan, what were the community saying? What game length were the community sort of wanting for our game? An average game time, I guess.
Ideally, they want a game that sort of meets the happy medium of the 10-minute game and the hour-long game. So we're aiming for a sweet spot of about 30 to 40 minutes. and we still want the game to experience all the experience that a MOBA has to offer, such as having ample time for a laning phase.
Right, because there is, some games that kind of skip out the whole laning phase, like Heroes the Storm, and a lot of that's why one of the reasons why that game didn't appeal to many of the people. So I think it's important to have that laning phase and not make it non-existent. And so is the game going for the casual audience, or is it going for hardcore audience? Like which of these audiences you're trying to cater the game to, or is it kind of for the both?
Well, we want to cater for both. In alpha we won't have a ranked mode as of release, but we do hope to implement a ranked mode into the game. And ranked rewards, a ranked merit system is extremely important to us. We want to reward people, because a leaderboard doesn't mean a lot to people at the end of the day, because not many people, like, your casual player isn't going to check the leaderboard to see what's on top. We want, if a person, we really want to reward people for skill, time, and devotion in our game. Okay, that's the key aspect. We want to sort of impose on people. If a person is whatever, we'll just say rank 10 is the highest a person can go with the god. Okay, if a person's rank 10, we want to make sure that they earned that rank 10. Like no masteries can be bought or whatever. And the same as if a person plays a lot of ranked, up against top players, and they do very well and they're skilled, we want to give them a frame or an icon that distinguishes their level from the others. Like if you look at in Smite or League, they have their own sort of ranked merit system. Smite is Grandmaster, Master, League has Challenger, and they get cool little frames, to distinguish it. And people really appreciate that. That's one of the main reasons why I play ranked. I want to get that awesome frame, and I want to, kind of show people that, like, I'm a force to be reckoned with. You know what I mean? That's why people, and obviously there's a different gameplay element, to ranked. It's a more competitive atmosphere. People
Absolutely.
People know or should know what they're doing, and it's meant to be a more solid, fluid gameplay experience than a casual game. Casual game, you hop in and you have fun, and then ranked, it's a bit more sort of serious win. You know what I mean? Like, people go in and they want to win, whereas in a casual atmosphere, people obviously want to win, but they want to try out new stuff, and that's also a big thing in our game. We want there to be a meta, but we want the player to decide a meta. And that's why we introduced the 3 lanes, top, like the 3 layers, because it's very hard to distinguish a new meta in a MOBA if we kept it to the 3, not, to the normal laning phase, top, mid, bottom. It'd be the exact same meta, it'd be ADC support goes, or mage usually goes mid lane, or ADC and support goes bottom or top, whatever. It's just complete. It's a solid. It's a defined meta based on the laning phase, and that's why we have the 3 laning phase. And then again, it links back to, it's something new, it's something different, it's something completely original. Okay, and people are going to question it. People aren't sure. People are so used to the 3 lanes, top, mid, bottom, or in Smite, mid, solo, and dual lane. People are just so used to it, and that's sort of become a meta for them in terms of Smite. Because I'm more familiar with that game, a mage goes mid, a tank goes solo, and a support and an ADC typically go dual lane. That's why we have the 3-layer map. We want to give people something new and let them make their own meta. And then if the game hopefully does, and I know it will, when the game succeeds, we'll introduce esports, etc., and then the pro players will sort of reinforce the meta where people will follow, because it happens everywhere. Pro players are the people who decide what the meta is going to be. If you look at any esports thing, wherever the pro player, like if a pro player suddenly decided that a mage goes dual lane, it's just what people follow, because they're the top, at the end of the day, they're the top players in the game. But that's why ranked is so important, because it adds a whole other depth of it's not just as you said, it's not just a hardcore. It's not just for hardcore players. It sort of adds. I suppose it reinforces a gameplay element into a MOBA, and that's sort of what we're all about. We're all about gameplay and getting a solid gameplay experience through a completely new, unique map design, as I've said before. And the community, Ronan was saying that the community is really sort of hyped for it, but they're questionable. And as I said, Luke and Kai are awesome, as well as their programmers they've been taking on. Ronan's actually part of a team that I'm managing, the community representatives. They're doing an awesome job. They've been taking on community feedback and giving it back to me, and sort of making sure that we adjust the game to the community standards, because the community are the people who are going to be playing the game, and they're the people who are going to be deciding whether they like it or not, and in turn helps us as developers improve the game. You know what I mean? And
Right.
It all links together.
So to clarify, this is a 5 versus 5 game.
Nope. In Oblivion, we're hoping for 6 versus 6 because the map is so big.
Okay, that sounds
Another
exciting.
New aspect. Yeah, exactly. There you go. There you go. It sounds exciting. It's new, but it's exciting, you know, and that's what we're really hoping for. It's new, but it's exciting, you know. And you're like 6v6. What the hell is this guy on about? You know, it's just give us a chance. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying to people. Give us a chance. Let us blow your mind away with this, because we've taken everything. Like, if you've thought about it, we've thought about it too. You know, whatever issue balancing you've had, like, we've thought about this for months. You know, it's like, how are we going to balance this? It's like 6v6. Oh God, you know, what are we going to do? You know, like, there's not also a laning meta. When you think about it, we've been very open about this. Sky Slayers, there's also a sky meta. You know, like there's a meta on the ground and there's a meta in the air, and it just adds a completely it just adds so much more depth to the game, you know, and it adds for a much more immersive gameplay experience. And people are just gonna have to wait and see. That's all I can say. They're just gonna have to wait and see, and let us impress them. Let us, you know, just blow them away with our project.
Okay, so you mentioned on this game teaser that you had already released on your YouTube channel that you had different types of influences. If I remember right, you mentioned games like Final Fantasy, God of War. Can you like tell me like what kind of gaming influences you have on this game and how their specific game mechanics or art styles have like poured over to Ethereal?
Yeah. So in terms of the graphical power, it's Unreal Engine 4, which looks great. Okay, it's a great looking engine. The shaders are really, really good looking on it. So that's sort of why we went for that. The art style, it was Final Fantasy inspired, I believe. My boss Owen was saying, you know, it's sort of a cartoony, it's a mixture between a cartoony sort of realistic look. The reason we went for that is because it allows for the effects to look amazing. If you go for a sort of realistic approach, like really realistic, you know, like good graphical approach, it would be, I suppose, impossible for people even with the highest end of PCs to get above 60 FPS if they were playing on 1080p, in terms of, or not on 10, above 1080p. So it was sort of catered to graphical setting, because if we add a mixture of realism and cartoony, which makes it look, it still looks great. It sort of caters for the people who can't really run high-end games, and that's sort of why we did it.
So essentially, this type of a style of cartoony and cel-shaded graphics is kind of like has lower polygons on the models too.
Yeah, basically. But at the same, people, this was also a concern. Like, people were like, "Oh God, the map looks cool, but the characters don't look like our characters are going to be powered by Unreal Engine 4K. They're going to look like the characters from Paragon. Like that's what they're going. Like, they're going to look amazing. Okay. The characters. It's not going to be a cartoony looking game. It's going to be a very high end looking game, but it's just sort of, as you go down the graphical setting, if your PC can't handle it, I suppose this is sort of a known fact. Like, the abilities and etc. will sort of look cartoony, but it won't isolate that player, because it will sort of blend in with the environment as it's inspired from Final Fantasy. So it will actually look cool, if you know what I mean, to play on lower graphical settings. You won't be saying, sure, like, "Oh God, this sucks." And also another point, we're not a Paragon 2. We're a completely independent MOBA, and that's what we're trying to emphasize to all the content creators and other people who have posted about us. We're a completely independent and new MOBA. Ronan's been dealing with a lot of questions. Will you have Paragon 2 characters in it? Oh, I can't wait to, you know, like, we're developing our own characters, and the Paragon characters that you see in our map are placeholders. So they're just there so that when we show gameplay, you're not seeing nothing. You know, you're not seeing a massive arena filled with nothing. There's something there.
Sure.
And it's just to give our community an idea as to what the scale, basically what monster or what size a boss will be in that area. You know, how big of a boss is to be expected. It was just to sort of kind of give people an insight into that, and that's why we did it. They're just placeholders, but we have characters of our own in development. You know, and everything is our own. It's our own idea. It's completely original, and as I said, it complements the original map design. There's nothing taken in like, everything in our game is completely original. It's completely our own design, and we want to really emphasize that to people.
So, as we were kind of going to the characters, how many we're going to have, and what type of class systems we're going to be seeing. Are these characters going to be very like complex, like something like Orianna or Lee Sin from League of Legends, or the Invoker from Dota? Or are the characters going to be kind of more basic and it goes more into strategy and like maybe the class system? So what kind of characters we can expect to see, and how many on November?
I believe Ronan, wasn't it 16? Yeah, we adjusted it for the community, so it was 16. Just confirm it, Ronan.
For Alpha, we intend on releasing 16 characters, which would be 2 for each class. That's including the Overseers, but if the Overseers don't make it into Alpha, then we'll have more of the other classes in for Alpha.
And then, of course, in the classes, you've got Sky Slayer, Cleric, Berserker, Knight, Archmage, Reaper, Marksman, A classes. We hope to have A classes for Alpha, but as Ronan said, if we don't have Overseers in the game, we'll have extra characters for people, as long as the gameplay is smooth, of course, because quality over everything. That, I suppose, answers that question. 16 is the hopeful amount. Well, we will have 16, but I suppose 8 classes in the game is the hopeful amount for pre-alpha release. We also need to emphasize that to people, we're pre-alpha. We're not alpha, we're pre-alpha release. So everything that people see is, if people think it looks awesome, it will look better. Like nothing is completely done. We still have shaders to apply, we still have work to be done in terms of rigging and animation, etc. So everything has to be improved on, but it's just teasing what the game is turning into. And people are really excited for that, because people are saying the game look great, the game looks amazing already, and it's in pre-alpha. So like, what's it going to look like in alpha? What's it going to look like in beta? What's it going to look like on launch? And that's really exciting to hear.
Okay, so in which platforms Ethereal is going to be released?
So we're gonna do PC pre-alpha. Pre-alpha is PC. Pre-alpha slots will be limited, of course, because it's pre-alpha. So it's sort of a very prestigious access. But we do hope, of course, obviously, the dream is to get it onto console. And when I say that, it sort of fills me with demise, because it's Xbox. It's not actually that hard to get it onto Xbox, but of course, everything has to be tried on PC. It's just, in terms of PlayStation, it can be very awkward in terms of cross-platforming. I won't get into a discussion about it in this interview, because it will just get very, very awkward and deep. But I will say console is the dream. Okay, we do, if all goes well, we do hopefully plan to release it onto console, and that obviously is the dream. But I need to emphasize, because there are a few people out there with very powerful PCs, but they just can't get used to keyboard and mouse. Okay, and that's completely understandable. We are launching it on Steam. Steam is the goal, and Steam has built-in controller support. Okay, if you go into Steam, go into big picture mode, there is controller templates and software downloaded to cater for people with controllers, and obviously you'll be at a disadvantage,
right?
Because keyboard and mouse is more accurate. It's a well-known fact, keyboard and mouse is more accurate than controllers. But it's just for if people don't want to wait for console release, and they have the hardware in the PC. You can use controller support, and there are software programs outside of Steam that you can download that support PS4, Xbox One controller,
right.
All that good stuff. And we just need to highlight that to the community, because it's not actually a well-known thing, surprisingly. I thought it was, but clearly it's not. So, that's another awesome thing about, I suppose, the PC gaming community. You can using controller on PC.
Yeah. So is it going to be when it hits? Obviously, now you're going to the pre-alpha, and eventually it's going to be on Steam. Is it going to have like early access price? Is this game going to be free to play?
So pre-alpha, we do plan, because like as of everything now, we haven't asked for money off anybody, because we don't have any gameplay to show people as of yet. And that's obviously fair. We're not going to charge people for something that they haven't seen. Pre-alpha slots as of now, we have decided that they will cost money. But as we get further on in development and more funding from the pre-alpha, etc., we do hope to sort of release our game for free. That's like the game on release will be for free. But pre-alpha, it's always been sort of, in most games, it's sort of like this pre-alpha now. It's always kind of been paid to access, because it's so early in development. It's actually costing us a lot of money then to sort of run servers for them people. So that's, pre-alpha slots will just to sort of get access to the game, but we do plan to give people rewards for purchasing the pre-alpha. like there might be different packs, etc. That sort of, I suppose, give you really cool, unique icons to show everyone that you were part of the pre-alpha. You know what I mean? There might be 2 pre-alpha slots, 1 normal, 1 deluxe, and the deluxe might have a few extra goodies, etc. But it's that's a very delicate topic in terms, because it, you know, whenever money's involved, the subject just becomes a lot more delicate and sort of fragile. So we'll just sort of, I won't say too much because I don't want to give people a good or a bad impression, but I will say, like, it will be a reasonable price to cater for the community.
Okay, so obviously, I said, because I've been covering MOBA games since 2012, and I see many of them fall. You know, most of them like get close in a 1 year. Usually, it's a combination of bad marketing strategies, or the game wasn't good enough or well optimized, or in most cases, which I believe were the main reasons, there was a better alternative out there. So tell me, kind of like, are you aiming to get a lot of those Paragon and Gigantic and all these Smite players to play your game? Or are you trying to tap into like MMO audience? Or like what is the strategy here to make this game successful and not be one of those, you know, games that end up on the garbage pile?
Yeah, well, it just comes down to uniqueness, you know, and a lot of companies say that, or you've got brand new gameplay, and, you know, a game like our game is completely unique, or like it's going to completely redefine the MOBA genre. It's got a completely new map design. It's got a completely new meta. It's got a laning meta like most MOBAs, and there's got a sky meta, because with Sky Slayers, you know, it's going to cause a lot of concentration. Each game, it's going to be a completely new gameplay experience for everyone, you know, and that's why it's such an previous content creators have said it. It's such an ambitious project, you know. And at the end of the day, people say, "Oh, why not just make a 3-lane map? You know, simple top, mid, bomb." If we were to do that, nobody would play it. And I'll tell you why. Because if they want to play that, they'll go play Lead, they'll go play Dota, they'll go play HOTS. If they want to play a third person, they'll go play Smite. You know,
right.
Them games have already sealed that sort of category. You know, it's a very difficult and it's a very brutal market. It's a very tough market to distinguish yourself with. You know, and you have to stand out for all the right reasons. And it's very hard to say, "Oh yeah, come look at our map." If we were to have a standard trainer map, you know, there's really the map design, the characters, and maybe the items. That can only attract people for so long. You know, the meta would remain the same, and that's what's going to captivate our audience. The meta is going to be completely different. It's gonna, and that's what we hope. Okay, it's with a new meta, we hope that people are going to adopt this meta, and it's going to completely redefine the MOBA experience. And that's sort of our goal. That's why we did the layered map, and that's why people are asking, like, I've got a lot of questions like, why not just go for a typical MOBA, you know, why not just go for a typical MOBA laning map, you know, with the 3 lanes? And as I said, it's extremely hard. You know, you've kind of lost the battle before you've even started. You have to go big or go home, as we say, on a game.
So one thing that I forgot to ask is that obviously you can fly in the game. In games like Smite, you know, it's more even though it's a 3D game, like jumping and platforming doesn't play a big part in that game design, though.
You're on about verticality, are you?
Yeah. So can you like jump in the game, and like in case there's a ranged character, is he able to like shoot in like in the FPS sense in all the corners, or are the missiles like horizontal or something?
Okay, so there is verticality in our game. It's probably we get a question asked a lot, surprisingly. It's one of the most, I suppose, it's probably the MOBA with the most verticality in it. And one of the complaints actually was, "Oh yeah, you've got lots of verticality, you can go from lane to lane," but the lanes themselves don't actually have a lot of verticality in them. As of now, we're actually implementing so much more verticality into the lanes, you know, to make each lane much more interesting, and each class can interact with the environments that will in turn affect the verticality. It will be a very we will reward people heavily for skill. You know, there won't be any auto lock or anything, you know, anything like that. It will be we want to reward people for time, understanding the character, understanding the map, understanding how things work, and ultimately, you know, leading to a proper gameplay experience. Because like it's a brand new meta, and everyone's going to be a noob for the first couple of months. You know, everyone's going like, "How do I play this?" But as people get used to it and understand, like, right, okay, I have to land this in order to do this, or, you know, it's just combos really, and people get to learn as they play. You know, learn as you play, and we plan to implement video tutorials or tutorials. We haven't decided yet, to show people how fighting styles and stuff will work in the map.
To break you up here, so are you saying that the game will have a bit of a learning curve in the beginning, or are the basics kind of simple? Will people be kind of confused like which lane they will have to go in the beginning? Like, do you implement add some of a tutorial system or bots in the game?
Okay, so I suppose you've asked two questions that, well, it's two very good questions. So the first one that links down to meta. As I said before, learn as you play, and as people play the game, they're going to have to learn different strategies, and they're going to see, okay, what works well in this role, and like our Sky Slayer is the only ones that can fly. I can't answer that as of now. Maybe not. But it's a brand new meta that we want people to learn, and that's why our game will be so successful. Okay, because people don't mind learning. People mind it when it becomes tedious and becomes repetitive. And this is what we want our game not to have. We don't want people to think that, oh yeah, it's the same meta, it's to say, oh yeah, support goes there, ADC, like people are gonna be excited, like, okay, whoa, I'm a Reaper, where do I go bot mid, where do I go to the top map, do I go to the, where do I go, what's up? And everyone's gonna be in the same boat. That's the beauty of it. Everyone's gonna be like, okay, do we go here, do we go there? And of course we're gonna implement videos as the game as we release. We're gonna tell people, okay, we'd recommend that you go here, recommend that you go there. It's only recommendation. People can do whatever the hell they want, and as people play, they'll define the meta, and that's why our game will be so successful, because people are going to learn and love the meta that they basically created. Community creates the meta, and that's what we want our community to do. We will guide them best we can, but we don't want to sort of define it for them. We want the community to define their own meta, and in turn, it actually reinforces community bonds. It makes things really interesting, because a lot of toxicity from MOBAs comes down to, if you play a MOBA, as you said, you were a big MOBA fan, like in a lot of MOBAs, it's like, oh, your positioning was bad, or you should have picked this character, and that's the beauty with our new learning system. There's going to be so little of that, because nobody's, everyone's going to be learning and learning different strategies, and nothing's ever wrong. You know what I mean? And as I said before, we'll have AI bots, hopefully further on in development, to help people develop new strategies. But all of this is easier said than done. No, we want to make sure that we have solid gameplay before we let the community decide their path in our game. And that's a big thing. We want quality over everything. We want to make sure that the game runs perfect, so that people can make their own journeys, make their own paths in our game, essentially. And that's our goal. That's what we want to do.
Okay, so that's pretty much all the questions I had. I learned quite a lot about your game right now, and it's going to be exciting. Will you able to launch it on November or not? And obviously people will wait for a good game always, I think.
People will wait because it's something new. It's it's going to grab their attention. And people are like, oh, a 6v6, a 3-layer, what is this? People are going to be excited about it, and that's where we're really hoping that people really get involved, the learning process. And of course, if it's if people are like, if it's like, month 3, if people are like, what the hell am I doing? We'll obviously recommend stuff for them to do, they won't be left on their own. Thing to see and exciting,
Yeah, and so where people can find this game, where they can contribute to this, to the plugins for the game, where can people start finding more info?
We have our Facebook page. We have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and our Discord. Okay, so our Facebook, we can leave links down below to all our Facebook and Discord. We recommend that even if you're on console, download Discord on your phone. It's a great app, and if you join our community, it's savage. We announce stuff every week, and it's really active. It's a really friendly community. We have a myth talk as well, where all you creative bunch can, write till your heart's content. I've seen some really cool myth designs. Myths are by the way, our characters, our gods, our champions in our game. That's what we're calling them, myths. But it's our Discord is where it's all at. Our Facebook is also very good. It will all be linked down below where you can check it out. But I highly recommend that you join the Discord and Facebook, because just the community there is awesome. It's really, really good. Ronan, do you want to add anything before we wrap up?
It seems we covered just about everything that he was looking to ask. So no, not really.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. And also, as I said, you do join the Discord or whatever, Roland's one of the community representatives. You can ping him, you can ask him whatever. They're very friendly. We're a very friendly developers. You know what I mean? Like we like to interact with, like, we're all human at the end of the day, you know, and we're just a bunch of guys with a bunch of skills, you know, catered to this industry, who want to develop something awesome. You know, we're not some, you know, a lot of people are actually afraid to sort of ping people, like, you know, in most developments, kind of afraid to ask, like, just ask us anything and we'll be glad to answer if we can. And you know, I really hope I answered, myself and Ronan answered all of your questions in a detailed manner today. And check out our social medias, which will be linked down below.
Okay, thanks for guys, and we're gonna wrap it up here. Check out their game, check out the social media, and it's gonna be exciting to see this game grow. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys soon.